So I'm just calling the meeting to order at this very moment. I'm wondering if I can entice someone to be our note taker this evening. Can't be John because he
I
needs a
was going
hand
to
to
say
hold the stuff.
I only got one hand now, so
Yeah,
I'll,
hey, that was really good, John. I have to hand it to you.
it was all a master plan here.
Yeah, I knew there must be. Is anybody willing to step up and do that one?
I'll take notes.
Great, that's great, Graham. So have you got it open there in your browser or something? So I can see in my browser anyway. He's doing something. Somebody's doing something on this thing. So that's great. I appreciate it. So, and we have called the meeting to order at 5:34. So welcome everyone. Our guidelines again are we are meeting online until somebody tells us we're not allowed to do it or we decide we want not to do it. We will be talking about the next meeting coming up in a little bit that will be a little bit different, I think. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Anybody want to make any changes?
Nope.
Not
Nope.
hearing any. I do. Steve would like to have a minute to talk about his role on the committee and do that. So why don't we reinsert a committee operations that I thought I could get away with taking out this meeting after our public comment period, if that's, or how about after the minutes would be probably the thing to do after we review and approve the minutes, if people are willing to deal with that. Do I hear any objection to that? Hearing none, we will insert that after the review of the minutes. So these are the people that are here, and no public participants that I can identify. So the public comment period has just kind of happened. And has anybody had a chance to look at the minutes? And does anybody have any concern about them? As usual, they're posted on our Google Drive.
Look
No
good.
concerns.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay,
Second.
second? Okay,
Second.
second from John, moved by Ravi. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as posted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are accepted as posted. So, I'd like to go on to committee operations. Steve, I'll turn it over to you for a moment, and then we'll plan to go from there.
Well, I sent you all email. I'm at a point now where I think I need to cut some of my commitments. So I'm going to officially resign from Energy Committee, but I would like to continue to work on the solar farms project for now, and just be kept in the loop on the solar stuff in general.
Okay.
So Steve, I'll just say sorry to. I know it's. You said it was from your med. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I had one
Yeah.
med a while ago that was really fun. I had all kinds of hallucinations.
There is an upside to everything.
I almost drove off the road because of it, however.
See, years ago that would have had to have been illegal. Now you can just get it from your doctor. No big deal.
Right.
Well, you will be missed, Steve, but we wish you all the best, and it sounds like we'll be in touch regardless. So
Yeah, definitely. I want to.
So, Steve, should we treat you kind of like we're treating Peter and Jerry? Peter has not been around, but certainly have been treating Peter and Jerry up to this point as an emeritus member. Would you like to sort of stay in the loop at that level?
Yes, that would be great.
Showing up when and how you want, and we will not be able to count you toward. I don't know, and Peter isn't around to ask exactly if we need to do anything with the select board, but we should post, I guess, in the minutes that you have officially submitted your resignation. Let's just say at the end of this meeting. Does that sound satisfactory?
Sounds fine.
Okay, so the end of this meeting. Now, that said, Jerry refuses to sit still, but at one point he had expressed some interest and or willingness to rejoin the committee. I don't know if Jerry, if you have any continuing interest in doing that, if you, well, and whether you see it as a full rejoining or a temporary thing, or you're just not there at this point.
I'm there.
You're there.
Yeah.
So you would like to rejoin the committee as a regular member then? Is that
Sure.
correct?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hey, Jerry, I've got a slot I can sell you.
You guys are going to have to work out the price on the side. However, we are going to have to take you to the select board, and so I will be putting in a notification to the select board that that's the case. So, strictly speaking, until the select board says you're a member, you can't be a member for quorum purposes. But Jerry's been more of a member than, well, he has been as much a member. I think I feel pretty good about our membership at the moment and everybody participating and joining in. So I can't say that he's exceeded anyone else in particular, but he's certainly been right there with all of us. And so I appreciate that. And I will plan to put that in. I would like to call for a vote, however, so I can tell them that we considered it and are submitting it as a recommendation of the committee per se. So that said, can I get a motion to invite Jerry to join the committee?
So moved.
That's Steve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Robbie, second. Sorry, Graham. Robbie beat you to it.
2.5.
So any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Jerry rejoining our committee, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Jerry, we will be recommending you to the select board to rejoin us and basically replace Steve after the end of this meeting. So thank you. I would say I'm looking forward to having you around, but it's been great having you around already. So I am looking forward to more of it. So thank you, Jerry, for stepping up on that. And Steve, I'm really, really sorry to see you go, but I understand your needs. And should you ever decide to change your mind again, I think you'd have a home here if you want it. Hell, I'll give you my slot. That sounds more attractive all the time. So moving on from that, next item on my minutes, which I'm working from as opposed to the agenda, are program updates. And the first of those is community solar. And Steve, since you are here, are you comfortable giving us a quick update on that?
Yeah.
Where things stand on that?
I actually just got off the phone with All Earth Renewables. They have a special program right now that they are trying to gear people up with 2 trackers. So it's a small system.
This is Did you say Norwich, Steve? I'm sorry.
No, I said All Earth Renewables. Anyways, let me tell you where we are.
Oh. Okay, yes.
So we have a meeting scheduled on April 23rd. And the idea is that we'll bring landowners and developers together. The developers will each do 10 or 15 minute little description of what they can offer. And then we'll break into work groups so that landowners can spend time just talking and querying the developers, details. The 3 solar companies that we have at the moment are Encore Renewables, Green Lantern, and what did I just say? All Earth Renewables. I talked with Norwich Solar, and they were excited about the concept, but says that with the way things are changing in the renewable energy world, they're not doing any more net metering projects. So that was kind of disturbing to hear. All Earth Renewables said that they can do a project through December 31st, but they have to have people committed by July 1st, and then projects completed by December 31st in order to meet new state guidelines. Because apparently, and I don't know the details on this, but the net metering option is going away. as of the end of this year. So that's something we need to find out more about. But that's what the guy at All Earth Renewables told me just a few minutes ago.
Steve,
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, I mean, I've heard about this, in other places, but what's the rationale for getting rid of the net meter?
I'm not positive exactly. I know I've seen people complain about solar. The rich people with their solar systems are making money and getting subsidies that they don't need. That's what I've heard.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
And certainly there is an argument for that. I mean, the price has come down, and they're much more competitive than they were 10, 15 years ago.
Would it?
Go ahead.
Sorry, one more question. So would it be replaced, or by a system where instead of paybacks to the person, that the solar panels ultimately result in lower energy costs for everybody? Is that the idea? Or it's just full on, we'll take your extra energy and still make profit?
I'm not positive. I'm not
Yeah.
positive what because I mean, this was news to me. So
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Huh.
So my next step is I've started to map out where, well, let me back up a step. So the original idea was that we would offer an option for small solar systems, up to 150 kW, which is a breakpoint where you can go on single phase up to 150 kW. Anything greater than 150 kW, you need three phase. So our idea was that we would have some 150 kW projects, hopefully, and some larger projects, hopefully. Now, sorry, I'm a brain fart here.
You're talking about smaller projects?
Yeah. So anyways, it looks like we're going to have two options to offer people: a two-tracker system and anything larger than at least one company said 25 acres is their minimum. So all I know is saying I was looking through the boundary maps, and I'm trying to identify people who have 25 acres of open land. And I think there are some on River Road. I mean, to me, that would be a beautiful thing to have an array on River Road, but other people might think differently.
But we're talking if we're still talking 150 per acre, we'd be looking at on the order of a 4 MW project.
Yes, a big project.
That's a big project.
It is a big project.
I mean, that's probably more than Underhill uses.
I don't know. We have to do a back of the envelope calculation. Not sure.
Yeah,
So,
well,
anyways,
I've
my
seen
next step is to continue to identify who are possibilities, and then go door to door and invite them to come to that meeting on the 23rd. I've got an old map of three phase in Underhill, in Green Mountain Power's territory, but I haven't got one from Vermont Electric yet.
Well, in Underhill, the only three phase is River Road to Krug Road right now.
Well, in Route 15.
Well, a little tiny sliver of it, right?
It looked like I didn't have a chance to really study the map, but that's what it looked like.
Right, but I don't even think it comes down Route 15. I think it comes overland to that substation.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Do you have maps of these?
I have seen a map. I will look for a map. I don't have it at my fingertips at this moment.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jerry. You're muted, Jerry.
You're muted, Jerry.
Hey again, Robbie.
Jerry, you're still muted.
There. Yeah, there's
success.
3 phase that runs up from Route 15 and Silly Hill Road, and it runs up uh, cross country through the Rawson farm. And I spoke to him years ago about some kind of a solar arrangement, but he didn't seem to be interested. But that's before he had his accident, so I haven't talked to him since.
Well, a 4 megawatt solar farm would be big money, I think, wouldn't it?
Well, not. Let me go check what they said here.
What time is the meeting on the 23rd?
6:30.
6:30. Okay.
Solar farms. Here it is. My thing's open. Okay. So these are actually so 3.25 acres would be 500 kilowatts, and that was one possible thing, and that would be $1,500, or about $10,000 per year for hosting, with an increase. So for
half
a
a meg.
500 kilowatt system, we're talking 10,000 a year.
For half a meg.
Yes,
And then would that be proportional or would it be
I
not
think so.
linear?
I think so. Might even get better because there's be some economies of scale.
Yeah, because they might find it even difficult to site arrays at that scale. So even at a linear upgrade, so to get to 4 megs, we'd be looking at 8 times. It's $80,000 a year just for sitting there and watching the meter click over.
So I would say that all of these numbers are soft right now, because
Sure.
it sounds like the whole situation has changed. But another company does $1,500 per acre per year. So anyway, so what I started to say is that my intention is to go door to door and see if we can generate some concrete interest in coming to that meeting and talking with the developers.
That's
And
great.
Jerry,
Let me know.
if you know Rawson personally, would you want to come with me to that?
I'll give it a try. Yeah, I haven't seen him for a few years. He used to cut my hay, and I knew the family.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking the two of us could go together.
Okay. I don't know what his situation is. He had an accident. He lost his foot.
Oh
And he
boy.
had to sell his cows. And I haven't heard about what's going on up there since.
Well, it sounds like $80,000 a year would be a fairly attractive pocket change.
Yeah.
80,000 sounds too high. Something's not right.
Well, if it's
It's
10,000 for
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but
half a
maybe that
megawatt,
10,000 is not right.
and okay, maybe if that's not right, but I mean, if it is 10,000 for half a megawatt, that doesn't sound that outrageous actually. Then, and the 4 megawatts would be 8 times that. So
Okay, well, I'm happy to go door to door by myself. If anybody would like to come, that would be fine. That would be great. Um, but it's not going to be a big extensive meeting. I'm just going to, just make sure they're aware of our meeting and see if we can just drum up a little interest.
yeah, it sounds like a real possibility. Steve, keep me posted on the schedule for that. If I'm not
Yeah,
already
Steve,
swamped.
if you want to send out like an email to the group or something like that, let them know when you're planning on going around.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah. I mean,
Good idea.
weekends work best for me.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Weekends and weekdays are all the same to me.
Right. Well, actually, weekdays tend to work a little better for me, but any given weekday is a total crapshoot. So.
Okay.
Steve, I assume you're going to reach out to the folks who attended the first meeting and
Oh, yeah.
front porch forum
Yeah.
posts and all that good stuff.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, cool.
We have, I have the list from the meeting. So we've got those people
Cool.
as well as putting it in front porch forum. Okay. That's it for me, unless you got any questions.
We've been asking them as we go. So I'm planning to attend that April 23rd. It's on my calendar, and let me know if there's any opportunity to sort of support it along the way. So okay, that said, Dwight will now report on weatherization. Thank you, Dwight. That's all done now. So moving right along to Town Hall Solar. I am still trying to nail down Brad and or Seth. Seth has been completely elusive. I have run into Brad a few times, but I haven't gotten past we need to talk. Graham, I'm trying to involve you in that. Would you still be potentially available since, to help us out with just the dimensionality and that sort of thing? Would that be a reasonable thing for that?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think one way or the other, and let me know how I can help
Yep.
either way, but get in touch with either or both of the individuals there. And yeah, just, I mean, like you tried to a while back, get kind of a roadmap of what we think needs to happen as far as all the permitting and
Yep.
this and that, aside from the actual building of the thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
happy
been
to.
hearing also, yeah. I've been hearing all sorts of rumors that we may not need a certificate of public need for it or something because it's associated with I don't know. It's like, we've got to get that nailed down,
Yeah, I mean,
which we do
those
not
aren't,
already.
so I'm not necessarily worried about that. It's more of the work that needs to be done to site the um, building with
Right.
regard to the river corridor being right there, and
Exactly.
stuff like that that could drag out for a while if we don't kind of try to keep it moving along. And
Yep.
kind of tough to be in this position where we don't have the reins on the actual like
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
portion. So when was the last time that you reached out to either of them, or
Oh, I talked with Brad. Probably, I was thinking a week ago, but time flies, so it's probably more like two. Since I actually spoke with him, I was at a meeting of something or other and talking to him in the hall there, in between one thing and another, and we, didn't nail anything down at the time. And I think that he also was very busy with some stuff at the time. So,
yeah,
so, so I'm
sure.
planning to get back to him, but I got caught up with eclipse craziness and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
excuse me. So anyway, that said, I'm going to pursue it. That's all I can say. Put down Michael needs to contact Brad forthwith, and that can be on my list to do. So that said, do we need to do anything more with our program updates for right now? Things moving along, and maybe something is going to come of all of this. So let's take up education and outreach activities. Lori, how about school and youth outreach? Oh, thank you, Lori. That was all very short. Event. So Dwight was going to look. Okay, Dwight, thank you for that. Jericho Farmers Market. Okay, I've been looking into
I
some
gotta
of that.
I gotta say, next time we need to limit your dosage before we have one of these meetings.
I was gonna say, Michael's on fire tonight.
Hey, what can I say? I'm ready to go to dinner. I don't know about you guys. We'll push it right through. Jericho Farmers Market. We've decided we're going to be doing that. A couple of things. One was, Robbie, you were going to be looking into the canopy and the table. Any update or anything on that, or still in process?
No,
Or
I've
what's
dragged
happening?
my feet on that, Michael. My apologies,
Yep.
but I will get on that.
Well, I should certainly think we have that. That's a successful report on that one. So let's see, what else have I got on here? Schedule. Okay. I have finally gotten an answer back, or I won't say not much of an answer, but a response from Elizabeth King, who basically said, give us a few dates. They're looking at initially scheduling interest groups for a couple of dates for the for the for the for the community booth, which is what we take. So they're going to try to schedule initially, and if there's are more openings, they'll start parceling those out. So I said I would check with our group and find out if there were any obvious blackout dates or any time when people would like, not to be involved or feeling like that. I do think it will be relatively important for us to, me and Jerry sitting there and, in our bikinis and attracting a lot of attention has always been great, but I'm hoping we can get a little bit more focused this year than in doing that and get some actual tools and that sort of thing going. So I hope we'll be able to devote a little bit of thought to that. It opens May 30th, so the first time that we would be able to go in would be sometime in June. I assume that it would make the most sense to sign up for a June and a July date. And then that way, if things open up, we'd be able to follow up. But I don't know, maybe we don't want to do it that way and, try to pick up, sign up for a June and August date or something and pick up others around that. So I was wondering if anyone had any thoughts on that and thoughts about anything we ought to do about scheduling aside from, just sort of spitballing it and picking a date.
It seems it's always tough to tell, but it always seems like the first event, yeah, like being that it's the first of the year, first event of the year, it kind of seems like it draws extra, people are kind of more apt to kind of get out and see what it's all about. I don't know one, if we don't feel like doing it monthly, but one kind of as soon as possible, and then let a date go by and do a second or so. Just a thought.
Sounds reasonable. I think the May 30th is the opening.
Right.
That actually is not a good date for me. No. I think that for me, I'm looking at my calendar here in case you're wondering what the hell he's doing. I might be able to do something on the 6th. Should we think about shooting for that?
Five.
And I'll speak at once.
I can't hard commit, Michael. That's going to be, my schedule's too erratic for me to.
Yeah, I know. Those of you who are working for a living and that sort of thing, I can't. So that means me and Jerry. When can you do it?
I'm okay on the 6th.
Okay. Let's write down the 6th. If anybody can join us, that'll be great. Should we then skip to like maybe later in July? Would that be good, or go all the way into August after that?
Oh, my calendar looks open at July 18th right now. I don't know if that makes sense.
Let me just see. So 27th I got. So then 18th might work for me. So 7/18. That would be our initial request for those two dates. That sound good for folks? Excellent.
First one was 6/6.
6/6 and 7/18. So I will put that in. Now I'm hoping we can, try to do a little bit more, give a little bit more thought besides just showing up and we will still probably have our little solar fountain and a sign or two and some literature to hand out and that kind of thing. But I'm not. It would be nice when we've had like tools and stuff like that. I will also try to coordinate with Jericho Energy Task Force on that because they sometimes have stuff to contribute to that. And in fact, that's going to be something coming up in a little bit later in our. Maybe I should have done it beforehand, but I didn't. So in our discussion here. So why don't we plan that for that participation? It's mostly sounds like it's going to be mostly Jerry and me, but if anybody who can join us, that'll be great. Display materials for show and tell, that will be really helpful. Anything programmatic we can put together, I'd appreciate some thoughts on that from folks. Feel free to email and make suggestions, and maybe we should literally try to pull together some. I don't know. It's hard to imagine. A solar grass cutter or something like that. Now that would be really fascinating, but certainly electric stuff and that kind of thing could be worthwhile having. So any thoughts? Very welcome. So we'll pursue that.
I'll take care of a solar grass grower.
Hey, that's great. It's like my solution to the energy crisis is I believe in fusion power. The only question is where to locate the reactor, and I'm suggesting 93 million miles up that way.
Good choice.
So okay, solar grass grower is Steve. We'll have him in charge of that. So that said, the next thing up is relevant to this, and that is the Energy Task Force. We had said we were willing to do a joint meeting with them. They have a meeting coming up. I do not have a date on that yet, but they were suggesting joining with them for their May meeting, which I don't, like I say, I don't have the specific date. They were also planning to have that in conjunction with a presentation. I don't know if you guys know Connor Lahif. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He lives over off Nashville Road. He's actually has done some stuff. I've actually seen him crop up on some, but he works for the Weather Service, the Burlington Weather Service, and he's very knowledgeable. Has a very nice, actually use his weather site for my primary weather prognostication. So I feel good about his. It's a good local weather forecast off of Nashville and in Jericho, as opposed to from the airport or something like that, which can be quite different. So I would like to get people's thoughts about joining them for that meeting and anything else we might like to talk about or address with them.
Is that meeting, Michael, in addition to our regular?
I was thinking that it would be our regular meeting. That was my thought process, because I know people have a limited amount of time.
With the farmers market coming up, we might need that meeting kind of tie up all the loose ends solely for us. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, you could be right, Robbie. You could be right. Why don't we go ahead and tentatively schedule our meeting for then? That would be what? That would be May the second Wednesday in May the 15th. So why don't we tentatively schedule our meeting? We can always say, figure out what we want to figure out and just go with joining up for that meeting if we want to. If we schedule it, it's easier not to have it than it is to have it if we haven't scheduled it. So let's say that. Are you all interested in joining a joint meeting with Energy Task Force and seeing what we can cobble together between us all?
It sounds like a good idea.
So, and we could do that presentation then with Connor. I think it would be. I've met the guy. I've talked with him a few times. He's very, personable and knowledgeable, and I think we can learn a fair amount, and it would be a good opportunity for a discussion. Sound all right?
Sounds good.
Any further discussion on that one? Any demurrals, or other concerns that I ought to know about? And anything we want to make sure we talk about or thoughts. I mean, we don't have to have everything nailed down, but if anybody's got anything, I know at one point, Energy Task Force had been interested in putting together something with window dressers. And Dwight has kind of, I'm sorry he isn't here to be able to speak a little bit more about that, but Dwight has never been very enthusiastic about window dressers, and he's convinced me not to be enthusiastic about window dressers as a specific weatherization solution, but as a potential, because of the way the whole window dresser program works, it's kind of like a consciousness raising community activity and that sort of thing associated with that. So that may be one thing that will come up, or I don't know whether we want to think about it. Another thing is Jericho has been running this repair cafe. I don't know if you've noticed anything about that, but we got two Robbies too. But Jericho's been running the repair cafe, and I don't know whether we either want to try to do something like that ourselves or try to piggyback onto their efforts or anything along those lines at all, or if there's anything else we think we could be working on more cooperatively and more together.
Michael, how many people on their committee? Just curious.
I think that, well, for one thing, they are not actually a committee, so their membership is a little bit more fluid than ours. They're not subject to any of the open meeting laws and quorum requirements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
I think they have half a dozen, on the order of a half a dozen people, but even that, it's like at the edges. I think it's a little fuzzy. It might go as much as 8 or 9 under the right circumstances, and down to as few as 2 or 3 if things are not moving along. So they're much more fluid about what they actually do, but they have done some interesting things, and I think that it makes a lot of sense for us to be working together. I mean, Underhill and Jericho are just kind of so closely related on so many things. It seems to make sense for doing that. I was thinking something else profound, which is kind of escaping my attention right now. I hope it comes back, because it was something that I thought would be important to talk about. But so I didn't know if anybody had any further thoughts on our engagement with them on that. But I can get in touch with Catherine and say we would like to attend that. We think we'd like to attend that, and like to find out sort of more about what's going on, if that people feel like that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think we've agreed we're going to pursue that, and we're still going to do our regular meeting, especially to work out about farmers market and activities along those lines. Presumably we're going to have stuff. We're going to be talking about this energy fair business and that sort of thing. So we're going to need some input on that. Both Lori and Dwight, we're going to be working on that. So we're kind of really at sea as far as that goes. So that's kind of the story on that. That said, I'm trying to remember what else I had on my mind, and I just gone right out of it, and I really feel bad about it, because I was going to introduce something about that, but that's basically what I've got. Anybody got anything under member items or anything that people want to bring up or talk about?
Well, I can't think of anything. I'm interested in following up on that net metering thing, though. That I don't know. I've just always found that interesting. The back and forth between the power companies, and some offer it, some don't. Seems like a major policy, right? That people should be paying more attention to.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm underestimating how much money is generated by it.
Maybe a place to start would be to talk to Renewable Energy Vermont.
Yeah. Okay.
they're probably up to speed. And let us know
Does
what you
anybody
find out.
want to do that?
Yeah, I have a good friend. His wife works at Efficiency of Vermont. Do you think that she would know? They would know anything about that? I don't know if anyone.
I don't know. Robbie's also been our contact at Efficiency Vermont in the past. Robbie, any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it can hurt, John. They, at the very least, they should be able to point you in the right direction. I think Rev is also a good avenue to pursue as well.
Yeah.
Anybody know anybody
Anyway,
over there?
that no, I don't. But yeah, I can poke around. I'm just curious. I
Great.
just, you know, I'll report back, see what I find out, if anything.
It sounds great.
Good.
So I have failed to recall what earth-shattering thing that I had been thinking about. So unless anyone has any further business, we will schedule our next meeting for May 15th. Sound reasonable?
Sounds good.
Anything else on our plate that we want to deal with before we all go have a bowl of soup or whatever we're going to do?
I move we adjourn.
Any second?
I second.
Okay, it's non-debatable. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The carries today. Thanks everyone. We've done an incredibly expeditious deal. It helps when half of our activities don't show up, so that makes it a lot easier.